Hello students, in this lecture we are going to study about the boundary layer theory. The boundary layer theory, in fact, we may have already discussed while discussing the uh, viscosity of a fluid, or even while discussing the shear forces. But because we will be using the boundary layer theory concept in today's lecture, so we will start with the same topic and we will recapitulate about the terminology that what is meant by boundary layer theory. Okay, so what is a boundary layer? So uh, let us consider let us consider a free stream which is taking place in the positive x direction. So this is the direction of the free stream. These arrows are showing the direction of the free stream, and the free stream is moving with some velocity u infinity. Okay, so in this free stream, let us suppose we have kept a semi infinite flat plate which extends up to infinity in the positive x direction. This is your positive x direction and this is your y axis. So in the positive x direction, this plate extends up to infinity, whereas the leading edge of the plate coincides with the origin of the axis system. Okay, coordinate system. So uh, because this semi-infinite plate is kept in a free stream moving with velocity u infinity, when the free stream encounters the leading edge of the flat surface, so because the flat surface is assumed to be having zero velocity, or it is kept at rest, so the fluid that comes in contact with this flat surface will have a relatively zero velocity. That is what we call it as no slip condition. Okay, so the velocity of the fluid at this point will be effectively zero, relatively zero. And and if you move in the vertical direction, so let us suppose this is this next arrow is the next layer of the fluid. So the next layer of the fluid will not come to rest completely because of the less intermolecular forces between the fluid elements. So this upper layer, which you can say the adjacent layer of the lowest layer, will move with eventually some amount of velocity, because this is not the layer which is in direct contact with the surface. Okay, so whatever retardation it is feeling due to the retardation that is caused in the immediate layer which is in contact with the surface of the plate. Okay, so the surface of the plate is at completely relatively zero velocity. The upper layer to this layer is having some velocity. Similarly, when you move in the vertical direction, the next layer will have slightly higher velocity than the layer which was the immediate layer to the contact layer. And likewise, if you move in the vertical direction, the fluid layers will try to attain its maximum velocity, which is actually u infinity, Okay, so there will be a distance. So let us suppose this distance is delta. There will be a distance from the surface of the plate along the along in the y direction. After reaching that distance, the fluid layers, all other layers, will move with eventually the same velocity, and there will not be any change in the velocity gradient if you move in the vertical direction any further. Okay, so what did we understand? We understand the layer which is in contact with the surface, due to viscosity and no slip condition, this layer will be at completely relatively zero velocity. The next layer will have slightly non-zero velocity, and then the layer which is just above this layer will have a velocity which is greater than the velocity of this layer, and so on. So the velocities of the layer will go on continuously increasing until it reaches at the free stream velocity, which is u infinity. Okay, so this is at this particular section of the surface of the plate. Okay, now let us suppose you are considering a different section of the surface. Let us suppose I'm considering this section. Let us take a different colored pen. So I'm considering this section. So at this section, what will happen? The layer, this layer will have a zero velocity here, because it is in direct contact with the surface. This layer will be, because it has already traveled opposite to some shear force or retardation force due to the viscosity or the viscous forces which is acting against the flow direction. So this layer will have a slightly lesser velocity at this section than what it had at this place. Okay, why this is happening? Because this layer has already traveled some distance over this surface. Okay, so this is the effect of the length of the surface. Okay, so this will have a lesser velocity. Similarly, the next layer will have a little lesser velocity than the velocity than it was having here. Okay, so ultimately this is having a lesser velocity, but this velocity will be more than the velocity of this layer. Okay, similarly the next layer will have a little more velocity, and so on. So if you look at the velocity profile, this will look like this. Okay, what is happening? You see here the thickness delta is actually more. This is your delta here. Okay, this is your delta here. So in order to achieve the maximum velocity or the free stream velocity, which is u infinity, now the fluid or you will have to travel more distance in the y direction. Okay, so when you achieve at that distance where the fluid velocity is maximum, or it attains the free stream velocity, this is the free stream velocity, then we say that we have achieved at that delta. So if you consider different sections, you will have a different delta values. So in fact your delta is function of x. Okay, now if you join all these points where it has attained the maximum velocity, then so this line is nothing but the locus of the points where your fluid layers have attained the maximum velocity. So this imaginary line is known as edge of the boundary layer. This is called edge of the boundary layer, edge of the boundary layer. Okay, this thickness delta x is known as boundary layer thickness. Boundary layer thickness. So what happens, this edge of the boundary layer divides the flow region in two parts. The first part is the boundary layer region. This is the boundary layer region. This green colored region is the boundary layer region, and in this region the viscous forces are felt, or you can say the viscous forces are dominant and the velocity gradient in the y direction exists. Whereas in the other section, in the other part, which is outside the boundary layer region, in this region the velocity gradients in y direction does not exist. So you can mathematically write down that del u del y is equal to 0 in this region. So there is no velocity gradient in the y direction. Okay, so in outside the boundary layer region, actually the viscous forces are still there, but the fluid is behaving as if there is no effect of viscosity in the region which is outside the boundary layer region. Whereas within the boundary layer region, the viscous forces are being felt, and it is being transferred from one layer to the other layer. Okay, so this so within the boundary layer region, you must have to use the Navier-Stokes equation, because the viscous forces are there, and outside the boundary layer region you can even approximate the flow with the help of Euler's equation, because the fluid flow behaves as if there is no viscous forces present. Okay, so this we also call it as inviscid region. This outside the boundary layer region is also known as inviscid region, whereas the boundary layer region is also known as the viscous region. Okay, and one more thing, this viscous region is a very thin region outside the above the surface or adjacent to the surface. This viscous region is very thin. It is not that this distance delta x is very large. It is not that large. It is very small region or very thin region adjacent to the surface of the plate. Okay, so with this understanding, we will move towards deriving the boundary layer equation. Okay, so what is the purpose of boundary layer equation? You see, we already have the Navier-Stokes equation, which is valid for the complete flow field and which is capable of analyzing the complete flow field. Okay, but what we have seen, that the viscous forces are only dominant in a region which is a very thin region adjacent to the surface. Okay, and if you cross the boundary layer region or the edge of the boundary layer region, you will encounter a region in which the viscous forces are merely present. Okay, or even if the viscous forces are merely present, the fluid flow can be approximated as a inviscid fluid flow, because the velocity gradient in the y direction is not present and the viscous forces are not felt in this region. Okay, or even if the viscous forces are felt, that is negligible. Okay, so keeping in mind that the Navier-Stokes equations are very complex in nature, Ludwig Prandtl, so this is Ludwig Prandtl. Ludwig Prandtl tried to derive an equation which is valid just for the region within the boundary layer region. Okay, So actually we have Euler's equation which is valid for non-viscous fluids, which we have Navier-Stokes equation that are too difficult to handle, but they are capable of describing the fluid motion. So what Ludwig Prandtl tried, he tried to simplify the Navier-Stokes equation, which will be able to analyze the important effects within the boundary layer region. Okay, so he derived a set of equations which are known as the Prandtl's boundary layer equations, and these Prandtl's boundary layer equations are nothing but the approximations of the Navier-Stokes equation within the boundary layer region. Okay, so this Prandtl's boundary layer equation for the flow over a flat plate we will derive in the next lecture. Thank you.